Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to What Are You Painting Now? A very special edition on the Genestealers. Today we're going to be taking a look at Genestealer biology. Let's get straight to it. So the first thing you need to know about the Genestealers and their biology is that they are a tyrannid creature. So this means that they share all of the base characteristics of the tyrannids. They're six-limbed, they have endoskeletons as well as internal skeletons. They have powerful chitinous claws and they have extremely strong muscles considering their size, as well as many other additions that we're going to go over. But the primary one that you need to keep in mind throughout this is that they have their own brood telepathy. That means that they can operate without the rest of the hive mind. Now, the hive mind is the most important thing to keep in mind when considering the tyrannids. It's foolish to consider the tyrannids as a singular organism. Instead, consider them somewhat like this. The entire hive fleet as a sea anemone or sea coral. Now, the thing is, the Genestealer's role is really that of a detachable feeder. It goes out and finds food for the rest of the hive fleet, and then it calls out, it sends out a beacon, and the rest of the hive responds. What is that beacon? It's psychic energy. So, taking a look at the Genestealer and comparing it to the standard tyrannid, we start to see a few variations. The first of which is its enlarged cranial capacity compared to that of other tyrannids. Considering its size, it is extremely large. The next thing to note is its tongue, or rather, its ophthalmony. I'm unsure of the actual pronunciation of that, but it is a specialized device which is for implanting tyrannid gene seed within their subject. So this barbed thing up here injects into a human host, presumably, mostly, a packet of DNA via a small seed. So this right here is what we're talking about and would look somewhat like this close up. This injects this very potent tyrannid DNA, and once that DNA has entered the body, it has a few jobs. The first is to wipe the creature's memory, which is pretty easy. Most of the time the subject is shocked. The second thing is to take over the reproductive cycle. So, whatever the creature is, this being your standard Genestealer, will hide, find a rather lonely or possibly someone who is easily accessed as their first victim. While the tyrannid Genestealer is fairly intelligent, it is merely going to start picking off people at the start. Now, once it's found this person, their sex drive will go into overload, and their resulting child will not be of human origin, but instead tyrannid. And this is where we get the first tyrannid hybrid. These are relatively slow, dim-witted, and not exactly able to survive in their society. Their human parents, and I use the term loosely, will take care of this child till maturation and will do everything to protect it like any normal parent would, considering there to be no abnormalities within the creature. If anything, they would think that this is a special child. As this starts happening, the original tyrannid, the original Genestealers, brain starts increasing. See, its brood telepathy allows it to start adding people to its own hive mind, and it gains psychic power the more people are within it. In the same way, the Tyranid Genestealer looks for psykers as their hosts. So, the first generation of Genestealer hybrids aren't exactly able to adapt to their current environment. Mostly, they're going to be hiding away somewhere else, and their parents are more likely than not going to bring victims to them. The second generation is somewhat better, but mostly the biggest advantage for the Genestealer is these creatures have that human-like intelligence, and this is very important for the Genestealers because it allows them to start operating within the human society. Before, the Genestealer was simply hiding away, unable to access the minds of those first people that it infected. However, these generations are part of its brood mind. So at some point in time between the first generation and the second, the Tyranid Genestealer becomes a patriarch, a fairly powerful psyker, having access to all of those minds and is able to coordinate them. With the next generation, we see a very advanced step. This is the third generation, and they are virtually indistinguishable from regular humans. However, they have certain characteristics such as the nose ridge and other parts which make them recognizable as descendants of Genestealers. This, however, is soon rectified in the next generation, where we see the fourth generation has almost no Genestealer characteristics. In fact, most of the Genestealer characteristics that they have are that of the mesmeric gaze and some of the more powerful Genestealer abilities, such as their claws, for example, and perhaps their strength, but without giving that away with their human appearance. These people then move on to become original Genestealers. The next generation begins the cycle anew, and at this point in time, most Tyranid Genestealers move on to start infiltrating entire populations, and they will have moved their operations to the next stage, either open rebellion or moving their Genestealers to other worlds. So, that's the biology of the Genestealer. I hope you enjoyed. I will talk to you later. See ya!